So how defensible are your choices if you'd ever find yourself in court after a self-defense shooting? Hi guys, and welcome to Tactical Review. I am very sorry about the delay since the last video, and obviously I'm not talking about the elephant in the room in this video. No, this is something I planned to do across a busy weekend, didn't get done. There's some terrible headlines this weekend, and that's not what we're talking about. Now, instead, I want you to think about what, if any, modifications you've made to your firearms. We're going to talk a little bit about social media and some ways that maybe might help you win the fight after the fight, should you find yourself in that situation. So anything from a paint job to a custom dust cover to a lightened trigger pull, the sky's the limit in the ways you can modify your firearms, not just your handguns, your firearms in general. And have you ever stopped to think about how that might be construed should you ever have to use your weapon in self-defense? We shouldn't have to think about it. We have the right to defend ourselves and defend our loved ones. We even have the right to defend other people in the public should we see the need has arisen. But unfortunately, after the fact, a prosecutor may see your case as one to build a career upon and may use your choices to paint you as a bloodthirsty individual who just wanted to make it easier to kill more people. So I'm not going to say what's right and what's wrong. But there's some examples that we can glean that maybe things might not be the best idea. I seem to recall fairly recently a headline where I believe it was even a police officer, had used his personal AR-15, and on the inside of his dust cover was etched F off. And I don't believe that case turned out in his favor because the prosecutor again said that, oh, this shows the tendencies of a violent individual who just wants to use his weapon to harm people. So maybe keep that in mind before you do things like have the crown of your barrel inscribed with "Smile, wait for flash." What about changing the trigger pull? A good prosecutor is probably going to point out, well, they were just making it easier to pull that trigger and hurt more people. Do I think that that's the right answer there? No, I don't. Perhaps you like everything about a particular handgun except the feel of the trigger. But I would have to recommend maybe find a different firearm that the factory trigger feels better. In the end, you do you. I just want you to stop and think about how your modifications might be used potentially against you should you ever find yourself trying to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that your actions were in fact self-defense in a moment when you are in fear for your life. For that reason, I'm going to say on weapons you intend to use for self-defense. Okay, I'm not talking about competition weapons. I'm not talking about a shotgun you might be using for skeet or trap. Specifically weapons whose primary purpose is self-defense. Stick to modifications that will make a weapon easier to positively control. Grip stippling is an example of this. helps with the positive engagement so that you can control the weapon. Sights and optics, making it easier to only put rounds at the threat where they're needed, and to better ensure that no round were to inadvertently harm an innocent. Things like that. Again, I'm not the boss of you. Just some food for thought. And now social media. So, again, we've all lost our cool. We've all said things on social media. Well, okay, maybe not all, but most of us have said things, and we go back and look at that a day, a week, a year later, and we're like, oh, that was kind of cringy. But one of the Miranda rights, when you're under arrest, they say you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. That includes going back and seeing what you've said on social media. So maybe if you've posted a bunch of memes about them alphabet boys and killing the puppers, a bunch of memes about how you're ready for the boogaloo, keep in mind, if you're ever in a position where you've used a firearm in self-defense, that's not going to paint you in a great light at the trial. Again, our First Amendment rights should protect that. We have the right to say what we want. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes good people go down for one comment or one action. So just a couple of quick thoughts there, really. And to finish up, I just want to remind you that just because it's self-defense, just because you're legitimately in fear for your life, just because you're right, doesn't mean you won't be treated like a criminal. Doesn't mean that it might not cost you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars proving your innocence. If you carry a firearm for self-defense, if you have a firearm for home defense, I would recommend looking into concealed carriers insurance. I'm going to put a link. In fact, I might even share in the infographic, but there's a website that compares the current offerings from all of the major concealed carriers insurance groups. I've personally chosen to go with USCCA. I'll leave a referral link in the description. If you sign up using my referral link, we both get a referral gift. But in the end, you make the decision whether it's something you feel like you need to have, you want to have, and look at the options and objectively weigh which one might be best for you. For home defense, maybe check in with your homeowner's insurance. Just be honest, be upfront with your agent, and ask, what would happen as far as my homeowner's insurance is concerned? What would be covered, what wouldn't be covered if an individual broke into my home and threatened my family and I had to use lethal force to defend myself and my family? Maybe you've got a great insurance that would cover you. Maybe you'll find out that you have an insurance company that wants to drop you just because you're a gun owner. I don't know. Anyway, some things to think about. Glad you joined me today. Please remember, hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to ring that notification bell, because otherwise you're not going to see when I've uploaded new content. And make sure, hey, now more than ever, make sure you're throwing your weight behind the organizations that are fighting for our Second Amendment rights. I wasn't going to talk about the elephant in the room, but right now, the fight is active and hot against your right to keep and bear arms, to be able to stand against tyranny in whatever form it takes, to be able to defend your family. So be emailing your representatives, be writing your legislators. Email Mr. Trump, and support these organizations that have the clout to help us do so. All right, I'm going to have links in the description for those. If you've got a little bit left over after supporting the fight for our rights and you want to support the channel, you can do that on Patreon. At least for now, you can still do that on Patreon. I've got the link on screen right now. It'll be clickable in the description below. You can also support me if you're watching on Gunstreamer by using Contributus. So you can click the Contributus link and support at whatever level that you would like to support. Any little bit will help. Guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.